Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an engineering professional who literally wants to build the future, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're building a highly structured blueprint for the massive L&T Construction Recruitment drive that's coming up in May 2026. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly where your specific skills fit, the exact documents you need, and the precise timeline to secure your spot.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First up, the L&T Mega Drive. Second, key roles and departments. Third, qualifications and experience. And finally, the application process.
Starting with Section 1, the L&T Mega Drive, and the massive opportunity it presents. All right, the absolute most critical piece of data you need to absorb right this second is this deadline, May 22nd, 2026. This is incredibly time-sensitive, guys. It's the hard, final deadline to submit your online application and get that resume uploaded. You literally cannot get your foot in the physical door in Hyderabad unless you meet this digital deadline first. So definitely mark your calendars.
Now, L&T's Buildings and Factories division is currently executing some of the most complex infrastructure projects on the planet. We're talking massive scale here, soaring high-rise residential buildings, expansive manufacturing facilities, and state-of-the-art data centers. And you know, data centers are just a massive growth sector right now, requiring totally flawless execution. So as you apply, you really need to picture yourself operating at this kind of elevated, high-stakes level.
Moving on to Section 2, key roles and departments. Let's find your perfect fit. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scope of this drive. L&T is actually hiring across 12 distinct departments. To make it a bit easier to digest, we've broken them down into 3 main categories. First up, core construction. If your specialty is civil, formwork, rebar, or precast, you're essentially the bones of the project, right? You're managing the site execution and the structural frameworks. Next, we have specialized execution. This covers finishes, plant machinery, and structural steel, basically handling the heavy equipment and all those absolutely critical details. And finally, management and support. This includes planning, procurement, QA/QC, safety, and the admin professionals who, let's be honest, keep the whole operation moving smoothly. Take a quick second to pinpoint exactly where your expertise fits in.
Now, I know these big construction drives can sometimes feel a bit skewed towards civil backgrounds, but the source material makes a point to explicitly call out mechanical engineers. So if that's your background, listen up, because these 5 roles are your prime targets. Plant and machinery is a pretty natural fit, obviously, but really, don't overlook procurement, QA/QC, structural steel, or precast. Your deep understanding of heavy equipment and those precise mechanical tolerances makes you an absolutely ideal candidate for these specific spots.
All right, Section 3, qualifications and experience. Let's get into the actual specs. Just like a building has to meet strict structural codes, you've got to meet L&T's educational requirements. For the general engineering and foreman positions, it's pretty straightforward. You need a full-time ITI, diploma, or degree recognized by AICTE, UGC, or the state board. However, and this is a big however, if you're aiming for a safety or EHS role, a standard engineering degree just isn't going to cut it. You absolutely must have your full-time qualification plus a specifically recognized diploma in industrial safety. When working at this scale, safety is just completely uncompromising. Experience-wise, L&T is casting a pretty wide net, looking for professionals with anywhere from 3 to 15 years of solid experience. But here is the really critical context you need to know. Preference is heavily given to candidates who have a direct background in large-scale construction projects. Meaning, if your resume highlights experience with things like high-rises, huge manufacturing plants, or data centers, you are naturally going to rise straight to the top of the pile. Okay, so the crucial point here is a bit of a deal-breaker warning, and honestly, this could save some of you a lot of time. If you have actually interviewed with L&T any time in the last 6 months, do not apply for this particular drive. There is a very strict 6-month cooling-off period in place. If you're within that window, your application is going to be automatically filtered out, totally regardless of your skills or experience, so just keep that in mind. Which brings us to Section 4, the application process. Time for the handover. So you've checked the specs, you know you're eligible, and you are ready to go. To secure that face-to-face interview, you just need to follow a really simple 3-step process. Step 1, register online. You can do this via the QR code or the link they provide on the official L&T career portals. Step 2, upload your freshly updated resume. And again, do this before that absolute hard deadline of May 22nd, 2026. Finally, Step 3, just wait for the green light. Shortlisted candidates are going to be contacted directly with the exact date,
time, and venue for their face-to-face interview down in Hyderabad. Now, once you actually get that golden invitation, here is your mental packing list for the big day. You're going to need multiple copies of your updated resume, plus your original educational and experience certificates. Oh, and if you are currently employed, be sure to bring your current offer letter and your last 3 months of salary slips to verify your compensation. Lastly, don't forget your government IDs, so your Aadhaar and PAN card, and a passport-sized photograph. Trust me, arriving with all this perfectly organized just speaks volumes about your professionalism right out of the gate.
Quick side note. If you run into any weird technical glitches during your registration, or maybe you have a super specific question about your eligibility, the official channel for support is infodesk@larsentobro.com. Definitely reach out to them early, though, because, like we've said, that May 22nd deadline is absolutely rigid.
Well, that brings us to our final thought for today. We've laid out the entire structure of this massive Hyderabad recruitment drive. You've seen the sheer scale of these projects, the precise roles they need to fill, and the strict requirements just to get in the door. The opportunity is clearly defined, and the deadline is set in stone. So the next step? That's entirely up to you. Take a good hard look at your experience, gather up those documents, and ask yourself, do you have the blueprint to build the future with L&T? If the answer is yes, then honestly, do not wait. Start your application today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really wish you the absolute best of luck in your career journey.